Hi my loves, welcome to your Cosmic Weather Report for the week ahead. We're working in similar themes that we've been working with, but this week is going to give us a really beautiful opportunity for a lot of inner healing, a lot of inner growth, a lot of self-discovery. And it is going to be, yet again, quite another big week. We've got quite a bit of Chiron energy this week. We've got quite a bit of Mercury energy this week. We've got a big Mars and Pluto square. I just want to address a question I'm getting asked a lot at the moment, which is like, when's it going to end? When's this upgrade going to happen? When's it all going to be over? And this shift that we're in right now, this awakening, this upgrade of consciousness that we're going through right now, it's going to be a journey. It's going to be a process. And it's also an inside job. So there's not a date that I can give you when I'm like, this is going to change and everything from this date is going to be different. But what's going to happen is there's going to be this gradual unfolding, this gradual shift, this gradual upgrade, whereby certain things that would have bothered you at one point aren't going to bother you anymore. You're going to deal with something differently. You're going to start to see something in a different way. And this is what I meant when I said it's an inside job. I think the biggest mistake many people are making at the moment is waiting for this moment when something outside of you changes, something out there in the world changes. And the whole time you're waiting for something outside of you to change so that then you can either change or do what you want to do or be who you want to be or be happy or whatever it may be, you're going to be waiting a very, very, very long time. This shift that we're going through at the moment is an inner shift. And unless you're doing the work of changing your thoughts, changing your beliefs, changing your mindset, becoming more spiritually aligned, beginning to listen to your intuition and the whispers of your soul, beginning to discover who you really are, beginning to do the work of personal growth and self-awareness, nothing is going to change. But we're being really supported at the moment on this inner journey of an inner upgrade of our consciousness, a deeper alignment with our soul self and our purpose and who we came here to be and what we came here to do at this time. And that's the shift. So if you're looking for this moment that things are going to change, you need to begin to look within first, and you need to begin to do the work of that upgrade in your own awareness. So as I mentioned earlier, certain things in your life, you'll just start to see life differently. You'll just start to experience life differently. That's the shift that's going to happen. So if you're waiting for something outside of you, you're going to wait a long time. So let's start to make this shift within ourselves. Whatever you want to see in the outside world first needs to appear in you. So if you want to be happier in life, you first need to find that within yourself, and you first need to realize what's keeping you from that happiness, and then how to create a sense of happiness within, and that's going to start to shift everything in the world around us. So all of the astrology at the moment, everything we've been going through over the past moons and months is all helping us with this process, this week in particular. So the energy of this week really starts on Tuesday, where we get Venus sextile Chiron. Now, as Venus meets Chiron, Chiron being the wounded healer, Venus being the planet of relationships, starting with relationship with self, our values, our sense of worth, there's going to be a really beautiful opportunity here to do some healing and growth around your self-worth. So where do you not feel worthy? Where do you not feel deserving? And let's start to heal that. Where do you alter your behaviors? Where do you alter yourself to gain outside external validation, approval? Where do you look outside of yourself for answers? Where do you outsource your happiness, your worth, your values? This is going to be a day that asks you to really begin to self-source all of that, to really begin to turn towards yourself and do the deep inner healing around self-love, self-worth. Particularly on this day may come up some wounding around relationships. And again, particularly where in relationships you morph yourself to become who you think they want you to be. And in doing so, you therefore self-abandon. And where in relationships you give parts of yourself away too easily and leave nothing left for you. So there's going to be a big piece here around bringing the power back to yourself, which is also going to be very potent because on this same day, Mars squares Pluto. So the upside of this is going to be a deep desire to connect to your inner power, to self-source your own worth, to realize where you've abandoned yourself and given too much of yourself away, and you've looked outside for what you need. And there's going to be this big moment of being able to come back into relationship with yourself. But also just a little public service announcement on this day. As Mars squares Pluto, it can often bring a lot of tension, conflict, power struggles, and especially if there are issues in your life you've not been addressing because you've been people pleasing, you've been the good girl, you've been saying yes when you meant no and no when you meant yes, and you've just been, again, giving parts of yourself away or not addressing things, if you've been allowing your boundaries to be constantly crossed, if you've been pretending to be someone that you're not, there could be a big kind of almost explosive energy that comes through this day as Pluto wants to help you to transform into a stronger, more powerful, sovereign version of yourself, where you know that your true source of your power, your worth, your validation all comes from within you. So first of all, be mindful of other people on this day. There could be a lot more tension and conflict on social media, people in your life, people around you, people in your workplace. There might just be a lot of tension on this day, a lot of energy kind of being on the edge, but also in yourself, notice if things like real anger and frustration and a sense of just wanting to like get everyone told and be like, I'm not doing that anymore and you're not going to treat me like that anymore. Notice where this wants to come up, because this is a really beautiful indication of where you have been giving away your power and giving away too much of yourself. We get to then almost really work more deeply with these energies on Wednesday as Mercury then squares Saturn. And as Mercury squares Saturn, this is such a good opportunity to then check your boundaries, to check where you are allowing your boundaries to be crossed, where you don't have any boundaries, where you are just too freely giving yourself away, and where you don't have any foundation in yourself of worth and knowing and looking inside you for what you need. So this is a great day to begin to set some of those boundaries. It's also a wonderful time to check in with how much stimulation is coming to you from the outside world, how much you're just allowing yourself to be constantly bombarded from the outside world and having the outside world dictate what you think and what you say and how you behave, and to check in with where, again, you're allowing how you feel, how you think and how you act to be dictated by the world around you and outside of you, and bringing that back to yourself and creating strong and firm boundaries then around yourself, around your own needs and your own desires. And that might mean just withdrawing a little bit. There is so much going on in the world at the moment. There is so much noise. There is so much constant bombardment, and we're expected to be on all the time and reply to emails straight away and reply to messages straight away and be there. And it's sometimes just not possible. And so this could be a time now to look at your workload, look at where you're feeling overwhelmed, look at where things are getting on top of you, and create some boundaries around what is possible for you, and to set some perhaps clearer deadlines around things, or to nudge things a bit further down the track if you're feeling that there's just too much piling on you. Thursday then, we get the Sun sextile Chiron. So this is going to be a day of, it's going to be a beautiful day really, of real self-discovery, of personal growth, of self-acceptance. So of just really knowing yourself and getting to that stage of being like, this is who I am, and I'm going to love myself for it, and I'm going to accept myself for it. Because very often when we are looking to the outside world for something, it's because we are seeking the answers and the approval from outside. But when we can look at that, we're looking to be validated from the outside. But when we can find it in ourselves, when we can get to the stage where we go, I love and accept myself fully. This is who I am. I'm trying my best. I'm working on growing all the time. I'm always reflecting. I'm always looking at myself. I'm always checking in with my behaviors, my thoughts, my actions, my words. But I'm just going to accept myself for where I am on my journey at the moment as well, and for the fact that I'm doing my best right now. So this can be such a day for immense personal growth and immense self-acceptance. So perhaps based on what you've discovered in the week running up to Thursday, this might be a beautiful day just to sit with, where do I look outside of myself for things, and how can I begin to turn within, and can I turn that love and acceptance and validation and approval back on myself and give myself what it is that I need. Friday then, we get, again, a really sweet day on Friday. There's quite a bit going on Friday. We get the first quarter moon in Virgo, we get the Mercury Cassimi, and we also get Mercury sextile Chiron. So all of the energy of this day is going to work kind of quite together. So I'm going to talk about it as a whole because it might be easier to do so. First of all, the Mercury Cassimi is when Mercury moves into the heart of the sun. And the fact this is happening on the same day that we get the first quarter moon in Virgo, which is also ruled by Mercury, and Mercury sextiling Chiron, who is also a ruler of Virgo, this is just such a day now for inner growth, for setting clear intentions for yourself of how you want to move forwards differently, for really being able to see where your past wounds hold you back. And so it may be that your past wounds cause you to be a certain way in relationships because you've maybe been abandoned in the past and you fear that happening again. It might be now that you do a little bit more morphing in relationships or pretending to be someone that you're not to get that love and approval, and so they don't leave. And so we're going to be able to really see where our past wounds hold us back and how our past wounds colour our current decisions and choices and behaviours and actions, and a chance then to really begin to heal that, to really begin to, especially with the work we did the day before around that real self-acceptance and self-love, to just be able to grow in a way of understanding how these things are on loop in your mind and how they then dictate the decisions you make, and being able to almost flip that script around to one that is more loving and more accepting. The Mercury Cassimi opens up our minds, and again, we're working with all this big Gemini energy at the moment. You remember from last week's report and the week before, we've got Jupiter in Gemini, which is all about now expanding our minds. And so this is really going to help us to see where and how we're again always looking for what could go wrong, and so we're behaving in certain ways to try to avoid that happening, instead of looking at what could go right and living our lives from the place of what could go right and what could be possible and everything that's wonderful and hopeful and optimistic. We're going to get to really begin to see that and to begin to turn those thoughts around. And with that first quarter moon in Virgo, the first quarter moon being the part of the lunar cycle where we begin to allow ourselves to be seen and shine, with this happening in Virgo, we're going to get to make a plan for how we want to move forwards differently. We're going to get to put things in place. Virgo, as well as being picky and perfectionist, Virgo's also the healer of the zodiac, the witch of the zodiac. So we're going to get to really begin to heal our minds. Mercury meeting Chiron, healing. We're going to be able to see how old wounds have coloured our minds, which then dictate our thoughts, behaviours, choices, actions. And we're going to be able to heal that. And we're going to be able to get to a place where we're like, I don't want to think like this anymore. I don't want to always be looking at what might go wrong, or worrying about what might happen, or worrying that they might leave, or worrying that I'm not enough, or whatever it might be. I want to start to look at what can go right. I want to start to know that I'm enough. I want to start to have an open, optimistic mind that searches for the possibilities and the opportunities. And so with this being the Mercury Cassimi as well, this is a day where we get to just open our minds. So on this day, I'd ask you to really, first of all, acknowledge and be aware of the wounding of your mind, the wounding of your thought patterns, and then perhaps be in a meditative space where you can visualize your mind opening and this beautiful kind of healing energy coming in and love pouring in, and your mind kind of being altered into a place where there is just more hope and optimism and love. And maybe we'll do something around that later on in the week as that comes through. But it's about allowing now this real healing energy to come into your mind, and almost visualizing. We keep talking about an upgrade happening, a shift in consciousness. Visualize this upgrade happening in your mind, things reprogramming in your mind, like almost when our phones get the software update. Visualize this Mercury Kasimi as a software update for your mind, where we are reprogramming all those limiting thoughts and beliefs, and instead upgrading our minds and our beliefs into thoughts and beliefs that are positive, hopeful, and supportive. And this is the shift in consciousness that we're all looking for. And the more we do this, the more we're going to see the changes. I'm wishing you a beautiful week. I'm sending you so much love. And as always, I really hope that this helps. Lots of love.